but a rebel, yeah, a rebel you are. And as a rebel you can go where the wind blows, but you have to do it all on your own.
Hello, everybody. Like a rebel. We are like a rebel. Welcome to the Recruiter Podcast. Dixie and Daddy are in the house. Here at All Systems Go AV, and on the other side of the glass, we have millionaire producer Adam and his ace sidekick, Chris. Hi, gentlemen.
Yo, what's going on, Craig?
I don't know what to tell you. How you guys feeling? How's it going?
Feeling fantastic today.
Yeah. Yeah, and thanks for asking. I'm doing well as well.
How you doing, Craig?
Okay. Actually, I've been working out a lot here recently, and working pretty hard. I'm pretty jacked. I'm just like blue twisted steel.
I see you kind of left that top button undone today.
That's right.
It
It's
seems
sexy.
like that was on purpose.
It's sexy. Well, I'm the youngest man in the car business, so yeah, that's part of my allure, I think. So yeah, I've been working out real hard, and I've been using, I've had over the years, I've had a lot of issues, orthopedic issues. I had my knee replaced a few years ago. That since went sideways. It sucks. It hurts all the time. I had my Achilles done in this past year, and so I've been using a lot of CBD. And so I went to the gym this morning, and I today was my swim workout in the pool. I go to this awesome gym. It's got this one pool. It's got two pools. The one pool is 96 degrees. It's crazy. It's really awesome. Saltwater pool. It's ridiculous. So I get done. I got home. Get ready for the podcast today, and I go to put the CBD cream that I got is in a roll-on. Okay, so I'm just kind of thinking about the podcast today, where I'm going to go with a couple things, and I put the roll-on my knee. I put a little on my Achilles. I also, this is freaking crazy. I broke my hand. I broke a bone in my hand. Friday. Yeah, Friday. I'm going to see the doctor tomorrow. So I put a little on that, and then of course, so I put it on my knee. I put it on my hand. So of course, I put it under my underarms.
Wait a second. You broke your hand on Friday?
Yeah, I broke a bone, and I'll show it to you guys. It's all swelled up.
Do you want to elaborate on that, or?
I don't know. I frankly don't know how I did it. I have no idea. I woke up, it was swollen. I moved it, and was like, oh crap, that's a broken bone, because I know this is the 27th broken bone I've had in my life. It's like a kind of a weird thing, but I have this.
Is it a pre-existing? Like,
No.
Has it ever happened before and it's just kind of re-aggravated?
No, dude. I literally have no idea. No clue whatsoever. No idea. I went to the doctor Friday, and he said, "Yeah, it's broke. You want to put it in a cast?" I said, "No, man. I'm working out. I swim. I can't put it in a cast. But I got tomorrow. I have to go because it's starting to hurt a little bit." So
How do you stack up with the other swimmers at the gym? I know I went to the gym before and I tried swimming.
yeah,
And for the most part, it's older people. And so I go in there and I think I
careful.
look like a champion.
yeah.
And I realize that it looks like I don't know how to swim compared to like these guys
Right.
were doing laps.
Yeah.
Everybody there was doing laps around me, and I'm just trying to figure out how to breathe.
I know. I swim with a bunch of really old people, so like older than me. Believe it or not, they're like ancient. And so I look pretty good against them. But there was a guy in there today that was probably in his mid-50s, and this guy was just banging out lap after lap with the underwater flip. It totally Michael Phelps. It was crazy. So that was embarrassing. But
It seems
I
like
do
it's
okay.
a lot of technique.
Oh, it is, yeah. But it's awesome cardio. It's great for me. But it was kind of messed up when I ended up putting CBD cream under my underarm. So I'm not going to have any pain under my underarms. So
Well, that's good.
yeah,
What does that wear off?
yeah, it's going to take a while, but I'm feeling very pain free in my pits, which is I don't know. I think that's important to put out there to the.
Well, we're both happy for you.
Thank you so
back
much.
Here. It's just good to know going into this.
I think
this
so.
podcast.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting podcast. I hope so. Those of you that are joining us, welcome to the Recruiter Podcast. Awesome to have you. What are we? Episode 40.
41.
41. Unbelievable. We're going to have a year celebration here coming up pretty soon. My hound dog, Dixie, the Wonder Dog, the most expensive rescue dog in the history of the world, is with us today, and she's laying down being awesome. So some different stuff today. Obviously, I'm solo, so and we're going to cover a lot of stuff today. I would like to ask those of you that are on board here, share this stuff out, groups and timelines and what have you, comment. I'm going to try to have a conversation with some of you today, which I've not done before, but we're going to do that a little bit. And going to ask Adam and or Chris to Google some stuff today. A lot of things I want to talk about. I want to make sure I don't screw up things too badly. But this will not be a 3-hour podcast like some of you have grown used to. So it'll be a little shorter than that, but still lots to go over here today. I want to start with Kobe Bryant. Oh no, Craig, not another Kobe Bryant. I mean, it's like, isn't that like, don't we have enough of that? And yeah, I didn't know Kobe Bryant was, I mean, it's like, I haven't seen anything like this since like, I don't know, like Princess Di passed away or something. I don't know. Maybe somebody has a better example than that, but like, wow, it's everywhere. And so here, I want to check the timeline here so I don't totally screw this up. Let's see here. Let me check this real quick. So Sunday afternoon, and I don't know what I was doing. I think I was just kind of relaxing at Camelot. I actually do live on a street called Camelot, believe it or not. So let me get the time right here. So Sunday at 2:41, my youngest son, Kyle Lockard, sent me a text. He said, "Are you seeing this Kobe Bryant news? Insane." I answered back immediately, "No, what's going on?" Next text was, "Apparently he died in a helicopter crash." Then he says, "Well, now I'm seeing it might be a fake. TMZ reporter reported it, but now their site is down." I said, ah. Then he said, "Now I'm seeing it's real. No clue." I said, geez. Then he said, "Yeah, it's legit. Crazy." I answered, "Yeah, Wojnarowski, he's a NBA insider. The guy's totally connected." I said, "Yeah, I just saw that he confirmed it and ESPN confirmed it." And my son said, "Yeah." Now that's at 2:41 Sunday. So what I want to talk about in regards to Kobe, and it's going to lead into a bunch of other stuff, is the following. Obviously, you literally can't go anywhere. Facebook, Twitter, any sports, Bleacher Report is a sports app that I use. You literally can't go anywhere without a tribute, quotes, what have you, about Kobe Bryant. Oh, quotes. I want to alert you folks to something. I see a lot of Kobe quotes, or a lot of quotes being attributed to Kobe Bryant. I read something, I Googled something. Be a little bit careful with those. They're not all his. He's getting credit for all these quotes, and a lot of them are his. There are some that are not.
You telling me that the internet's lying, Craig?
The internet has told some fibs, and you got to be careful with it. And it goes worse than that. It's like, I'll get to it in a minute. I mean, it's like worse than that. But to give you an example, there's and if somebody, if you see a quote and you know it's not, it's like I don't know, Teddy Roosevelt quote and someone's giving Kobe credit for it, instead of blasting that person on their timeline and a comment or whatever, DM them. About a year ago or so, I posted something. You've probably all seen it. It's a trail of wolves, and there's a wolf leading the pack, one of the stronger wolves, and then there's another strong wolf at the end of the pack to protect the older wolves that are just in front of it. And it's a line of wolves going through the snow. And with the theory of that, there's a leader of the pack, and then there's the rest of the wolves, then the older wolves, and then a leader, an alpha at the back of the pack to make sure to protect and watch over the elder wolves. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I tried to correlate it to the automobile business and so on and so forth. So I posted it, and a bunch of likes and all the normal stuff you expect to see. And this one guy who's kind of a big name in the car business, he's on my friends list. I've met him a couple times. I didn't know he was a dick, but he turned out to be kind of a dick, and said something like, nice story, but it's fake. You really should Google stuff first. And it's like, really, dude? Like, really? You're going to call me out? You can't send me a DM and say, hey, this is wrong. I've seen it a lot lately. I don't know if it's happening to all y'all, but with a helicopter crash, I'm getting fed, and I'm assuming you folks are too, because of the algorithms on Facebook. I'm getting fed a lot of helicopter crashes. And I saw one, I don't know, yesterday, the day before, whatever it was, with I think it was a helicopter going down in Afghanistan, and a certain amount of soldiers perishing in the crash. And it turns out it was from 2005 or something. And the person didn't check into it and posted it. And again, somebody called them out right on their profile. I mean, that's low class, man. Just people make mistakes. Give it a break. Send them a DM and say, hey, check your source. It's not right. You don't have to embarrass somebody like that. That's stupid. But what I'm finding is, and the reason I wanted to start out with this is in regard to social media. And I'm going to come full circle on a lot of this stuff during the course of this podcast today. So what happened was, as I recall the timeline, and I went right into the rabbit hole, because that's a pretty big deal. And Kobe, for the most part, had not been in the news for quite a long time. Now, it just so happens the night before in Philadelphia, where he's originally from, he went to what's it called, guys?
Lower Marion High School.
Yeah, thank you. Lower Marion High School. That's where he took Brandy to his high school prom, which is pretty outrageous, but good for him. But he was in Philadelphia the night before, LeBron, that is, and passed Kobe as the third-time all-leading scorer in NBA history, behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jordan. And so Kobe had tweeted out to LeBron something, keep it going forward, something like that. And obviously Kobe is a mentor, sort of, or someone that LeBron has looked up to, and so forth. So that was kind of a big deal, and that was Saturday night that came out. So the first report that I saw was, of course, from TMZ, and I'm not going to look it up, but I think it was something like Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash. Then the next thing I saw was his entire him, his wife, and his 3 daughters perished in the crash. And that was a tweet, I think it was a tweet, because I was following Twitter, because it was obviously, it trended like in 10 minutes. So I'm going through all these. Then the next thing I see is Rick Fox was on the helicopter. For those of you that are not familiar with the NBA or this kind of thing, Rick Fox was a kind of a role player. Looked like a movie actor, like a model, like a real good-looking guy. I don't know, probably in the league for 10, 12 years, maybe. I'm just guessing. You guys can call me out on that and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, but whatever. He was in the league for quite a while and played with Kobe. And I saw a report that he was on the helicopter. then the next report I see is that just Kobe and I'm sorry, what's his daughter's name? Gianna? Yeah, Gianna.
Yeah.
Perished in a crash. And then the next thing I see is there were 4 people plus the 2 of them, or a total of 6, or no, 4 total. Then it went from 4 total to 4 others. And I don't think it was until late Sunday evening, maybe even Monday, that the report came out that there was actually 9 people in total involved in the crash. Now, my point to all this is I think it's just it's incredible the way that our society is, that it's a race to the headline. It's a race to the clickbait. It's a race to, I got to get this news out here. I got to be the first. It doesn't matter if it's right. It only matters if I'm first. And it's just insane. And I think, I don't see these people getting fired. It's like, I guess if you own a news agency or some sort of outlet, whether it be TMZ or whatever, and the first thing was like, really TMZ? But I guess TMZ's got a lot of people in their pocket and a lot of connections. So they have access to these stories, and they're becoming an actual legit, quote unquote. I can't believe that came out of my mouth. I never thought I'd say those words all in a sentence together, TMG and a legitimate news source. But I guess that's the case. But I see all these, what happened Sunday was just tweet after tweet after tweet of all the, and some of these people relatively influential, relatively connected in the sports world or in the news world, if you would say, reporting these things just like out of the blue, man. Like, yeah, okay, I heard this, a buddy of mine said this, so I'm going to do that. It's like, seriously? You're not going to double, triple check your source? You're just going to put it out there? You're going to put Rick Fox's name out there? Because I heard, I saw an interview, I think it was yesterday, that Shaq did with all the guys from NBA TV. And when he saw the Rick Fox thing and like called him, couldn't get a hold of him. And he's like, he's freaking out because he played with or knows Rick Fox real well. And it was like, so he thinks he's dead.
They had Rick Fox on that program.
Was he? Jeez, I didn't even pay attention.
So, yeah, it was NBA on TNT?
Yeah. Because I know our Charles was there. I didn't know Rick was sitting on, they were sitting on stools?
They were at the Staples Center.
Jeez.
And they did an hour-long pregame where it was just pretty much them talking about Kobe. And then there was a game, and then after the game was over, they had another post-game thing, but it was the same setup, and they brought out the one segment they had Derek Fisher, who played for the Lakers,
right,
for all 5 of Kobe's championships, and then they had Rick Fox, who they brought them 2 out, and they actually talked to Rick Fox about it and got his perspective on what it was like being in those reports.
What did he say? I totally missed it. Was that when Shaq broke down and talked for 7 minutes? It was a 7-minute clip. Was he sitting out there then or later?
This was later.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
What'd he say, Rick?
So he was kind of saying it was mainly along the lines of people were just started texting him and calling him and asking him if he was okay.
Right.
And even, is it Kenny Smith?
Yeah.
Who's on the show.
Right.
He said he saw that, and they have, a connection, I guess. And he said he texted him. He just said, in his text, I think he said, just say hey back.
Yeah.
And then he said he was waiting for it, and Rick Fox said hey with like a broken heart emoji or something like that.
Yeah.
And Kenny Smith started crying right on TV there.
Oh man.
And it was he was just confused and heartbroken at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, what did you? I mean, it was like, it's like. So look, Kobe. I can remember when he went to the prom with Brandy. I can remember when he got. Now, you guys, I don't know. Maybe we can Google this, but he got drafted by the Hornets, and I don't know And he didn't get drafted in the top. He won a lottery pick. I
He was up there. I think there was
15, 16 maybe. He wasn't.
I don't know if he dropped that far. We'll look it up. But
All right. Yeah,
I
let's
know
look
there
that up.
was. He was in the same draft as Iverson, Marcus Camby, Stephon Marbury.
Oh, was he?
And all of them went before him.
Right. Now, do you recall, or can you see, did he pull a Elway or Eli Manning where he kind of demanded to get traded, or did the Lakers just make Charlotte an offer that they couldn't refuse? Do you recall?
I think from what I saw, the Hornets told him that they basically didn't want him.
Did Jordan own the team then? Did Michael Jordan own the Hornets then?
No, Jordan was still playing.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
So Kobe went 13th.
13th. Wow. 13th. And he gets traded. Who did you see? Who did he get traded for? Who did the Hornets get for Kobe freaking Bryant?
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
Man, I mean, what? I mean, they better got. I don't think they got anything. Maybe Muggsy Bogues.
I can't imagine it was that much. Not nearly as much as what was
right
worth for him.
Right.
Wow.
Because
Because he coming out of high school, that wasn't really a thing. The only person, so Kevin Garnett did that the year before.
That's right.
But he was a big man.
Right.
I think the thought was with Kobe coming out,
right,
was that a guard
right,
wouldn't be able to handle the NBA.
right. Well, he didn't. He wasn't exactly built like LeBron or anything. Didn't have a quote unquote NBA body. But yeah, I would guess that that's true. That's probably why he went. What'd you say? 13?
13.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, if you find who he got traded for, that'd be interesting, or what Charlotte got in return. It's the Lakers get these guys. It's unbelievable. I don't know how that happens. I really don't. I don't know how that happens. So now social media goes further. So now they're digging. So now these news sources, and I'm using that term really lightly, are really digging. So they found out that supposedly him and his daughter went to church early Sunday morning, took communion prior to the flight. So that report comes out. And they somebody
Real quick, Craig, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
They traded him for Vlade Divac.
No way.
And the reason the Lakers wanted to get rid of Vlade so they can bring in Shaq.
Well, okay. Wow, did Charlotte get screwed in that deal? Holy cow, looking back on it. Wow. And then I think Divac ended up back with the Lakers anyway, or
he went to Sacramento.
Oh, did he? Oh, that's right. Yeah, and his career ended up pretty good, and then I think he went in the front office for somebody, as I recall.
I think he's a GM for the Kings now.
Oh, okay. That's good information. Vlade Divac for Kobe Bryant. Whoa, that's a trade that would only happen once in a million years. Unreal. So somebody interviewed their, I guess it would be if they went to communion. I'm assuming it was a priest, a Catholic church, but maybe not because there's other religious texts that have communion. But so then, I don't know when it is. I've lost track of all this stuff. I've spent too much time looking at this stuff, but I knew I wanted to talk about it today, so I've done, it went down the rabbit hole. So now a couple things came out, I don't know, yesterday, I think it was. So evidently his parents, his father, what they call him, Jelly Bean Bryant, I think, played in the NBA and traveled all over the country. I think he ended up in Europe or somewhere. And, Kobe grew up, a pretty good life. But evidently, I read a story with perhaps zero credence that they were kind of estranged, that the parents sold memorabilia that Kobe had given them. That story's out there, which if true, that's pretty horrible. Then I read another story, I think it was this morning, that Kobe memorabilia is bringing ridiculous amounts of money online, like a bunch of dough. And of course, where there's big money, there's big crime. Crime is sure to follow. So, of course, the scammers are out selling knockoff Kobe stuff for big money online and screwing people out of money, their hard-earned money, playing on a dead person's career and memorabilia. So, yeah, so social media, and I think this is going to go on and on and on and on and on and on. I don't see any end in sight. And again, when this happened, I'm not without involvement in this thing, but on my timeline on Facebook, I just put Kobe ... Wow, because I didn't know a lot, and I know how these things go. Blessings and prayers. I'm overwhelmed. I can't believe this has happened. This is so horrible. And look, I can understand the people in LA. I can understand, Lakers fans, wherever they live. I can understand people from Philadelphia, perhaps, where he grew up. I can understand all those connections. And obviously, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, I will say, passed. And of course, what made it even worse, if those are the right words, is his daughter perished. And then to go along with that, the other people, the whole family, the baseball coach and his wife and daughter, and it's obviously just a horrible, horrible thing. What I found interesting is that the outpouring of sympathy, love, and so forth, it was everywhere. I mean, you couldn't. Now, maybe it was the algorithm I got involved in. Maybe other people's Facebook wasn't like that, but mine was loaded with it. I mean, like everybody, and that's fine. People paying their respect, and I totally get it. There were a lot of bombshells off of that. I don't know, audience, if you guys, and I'm going to get to some of you guys. I'm going to get to some of you guys here in a minute that are replying on Facebook, and I appreciate you guys joining us. These podcasts are catching fire a little bit, so we're getting, I don't know, over the course of a week or so, they build every week. It's weird how these things build an audience, but they end up 5,000-6,000 views here in the end of the week, and then of course YouTube and all the audio platforms. And let me digress for a minute, guys. If you would subscribe to our YouTube channel, it's AutoMax Recruiting, and we are on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. Please subscribe, upload, leave us a review. Good, bad, horrible, doesn't matter. I'd like to hear from you. And of course, a lot of you are watching this on our AutoMax Recruiting Facebook page. And then we, in post-production, then it'll be all over LinkedIn tomorrow, and Instagram and so on and so forth. So, but if you guys would subscribe and upload and all that, and leave us reviews and that kind of thing, show some love, that would be awesome. So, what I find interesting, in a really horrible sense, I don't know. I'm really into stand-up comedy. I've started watching podcasts and clips and so forth. I'm really into stand-up comics, and there's like this mega successful hot group of comics right now that seem to hang together. Joe Rogan, of course, the number one podcast basically in the world, very influential guy, stand-up comedian. You got Bert Kreischer, the Machine, takes his shirt off and all. Tom Segura, who is just a crazy guy. I think these guys are starting to play. Segura was at the Parks Casino here in beautiful Bensalem, where All Systems Go AV. Our studios here are located. You got Bill Burr. You've got Andrew Santino, who I think is a really funny guy. You got Theo Vaughn, who I really enjoy. Brian Callen. You got who's his buddy who does Fighter and the Kid, Brendan Schaub, the ex-UFC fighter. So you got all these group of people, and another guy, a guy by the name of Ari Shaffir. Ari Shaffir is like a real close buddy of Joe Rogan's. And I don't know if you guys follow this at all. This is, you probably don't, but for the few of you that do, about a month or two ago, no, it was October, he dosed with a Molly. What's that stuff called? Molly, whatever it is. What is
Ecstasy?
that stuff?
MDMA?
Yeah, MDMA. Yeah, dosed Bert Kreischer during a podcast in his own house. Didn't tell him. Dosed him, and which is bad because Bert's on a lot of other medication, this and that, and Bert's wife lost her mind. Understandably so, and Bert forgave him. His wife has not. Understandably so. It was in front of his kids, and it was a bad situation. And Ari did it as a quote unquote joke. So, if you guys, Adam, if you could cue up, so Ari Shaffir. So I first noticed it on Instagram. Bert put a picture of Kobe's jersey and saying how sad it was. And the first comment was from Ari Shaffir. And he said something along, and it's been pulled down since. He said something along the lines, great, that's great news, not sad at all, something like that. And then hashtag F the Lakers. But he didn't just put F, he spelled it out. And it went insane. Then so I went right to Ari Shaffir's Instagram. There was nothing there. I went to his Twitter, and lo and behold, he's got a full tweet about it and then a video. But do you have that queued up, his tweet? Do you guys have that in there?
Yeah.
You can read Ari's tweet.
Yeah, the tweet he had.
Do you show, what time was that tweet? Does it show there or no? Because
No,
the tweet's been
this
pulled
is from
down.
an article.
You're right.
And
Okay.
they just kind of quoted it. But his tweet says, quote, Kobe Bryant died 23 years too late today. He got away with rape because all the Hollywood liberals who attacked comedy enjoy rooting for the Lakers more than they dislike rape. Big ups to the hero who forgot to gas up his chopper. I hate the Lakers. What a great day. End quote.
Wow. Okay. So there's a little bit to unravel here. All right. So this is a stand-up comedian. His speech is protected under the First Amendment. Thank God. However, so he can say literally anything. Absolutely anything. As we all can. We can say anything we want. This guy, I read this morning, his agent fired him this morning as a client. We can say, as human beings, as a regular person, as a celebrity, anything we want. I also saw today or yesterday the lead from Westworld, the blonde farm girl that turned into, I forget the whole story from Westworld, but I'm just drawing a blank right now. But she came out and said something, they're not mutually exclusive. The fact that and I don't think he got charged with rape, he got charged with sexual assault. It's 2003. And those of you that don't know the story, long story short, Denver, Colorado, he was there for the next day. I believe he was there for either surgery or a consult with a physician about some injury he had. And ended up, he's married at the time, ended up hooking up with a 19-year-old. Hooking up might be, not exactly the right way to put it, but however it went down, because there's only a couple people that know, him and the girl, of what actually happened. He said it was consensual. She painted a different picture. They ended up settling out of court, basically, is what happened. But it was bad. He ended up on an apology tour, bought Vanessa, his wife, $8 million diamond. Hey, I'm sorry, I screwed up. And went on from there, which I'm going to get to here in a minute. But what I want to talk about is just this. This Ari Shaffir, this guy, I can't imagine. This guy's not going to be doing any comedy sets out in L.A. at the Comedy Store for quite a while. This guy, I can't imagine. I would venture to say that he should have bodyguards. There is an uproar over this guy. If you guys want more information on it, just Google Artie Shaffir. I think it's SHAFFIR, something like that. You'll find it. It's pretty easy. It's all over the place. And there's a video, 2 videos, in fact, that he shot that are even more brutal, where he's laughing, and it's just obviously in very poor taste. However, like I said, he is protected by the First Amendment. Thank God. However, there are consequences to taking advantage and being protected by the First Amendment. You can, in fact, say anything you want to say, but there are consequences to it. And this guy's probably going to suffer some very severe career consequences. Now, I've heard people say, well, yeah, he's still going to have a fan base. Yeah, that's going to be a pretty low-brow fan base. Some pretty sick people. If people think that's a cool way to handle a person's death and 8 other people and children involved, and I mean right after, and bring up rape, that's in pretty poor taste, obviously. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I think it's, and other people, this girl from Westworld, this actress, said something similar, how horrible it was and this and that, but then she
said,
go ahead.
That, she said that he's, it's tragic, his family, they're suffering. She's sorry for his family. He was inspiration. And then she said, and he was also a rapist. Right. She said both can be true at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Both can be both can be true at the same time, which she's right. And she is able to say that, but she is going to take a crap load of heat for that too. Whether you believe she should or not, that's up to you and what your standards and morals and ideas about that kind of thing are. I think it's in poor taste, obviously. I think also, and I might get some heat for this. I think we've probably made Kobe, and we do this with celebrities. We do it every time. We as a society, we on social media, we on Facebook, Twitter, what have you, we take these horrible situations and we build these people into something that maybe they're not. And I only want to go back to, so what happened in Denver in 2003. Then, from that point on, there was nothing but an ascension of his career, both in the NBA, on the Lakers, and with his family from that point on. He won several championships with Shaq, and he just became, then he took on the moniker that he came up with, the Black Mamba, and that intense, burning desire to be the best of the best. And just, I read a story yesterday or maybe it was it Derek Fisher? No, it was Lou Williams, the brilliant sixth man, I think now for the Clippers. But he said something about Kobe came in, I think it was at halftime or something, or maybe it was the next game. They had played poorly the night before or something. He took all his Kobe shoes, they were wearing Kobe sneakers, took them all away, said, "You guys are too soft. You can't wear my shoes," which is a pretty strong move. But so he did that, and then he ended up building a career. He scored 81 points in a game, which I think is the second most ever behind Wilt Chamberlain's 100 that he scored, a million years ago.
That's correct.
In his final game, which is I heard somebody taking a shot at him that it took 50 shots. I'm not sure that that's the case. But in his last game, now this guy's broken down. He had suffered an Achilles tendon, a ruptured Achilles tendon, which I've done actually 3 times. 2 to my left Achilles, 1 to my right. I can tell you that I cannot jump higher. White man can't jump is true. White man with 2 ruptured Achilles can't jump at all. But he went to Germany, I think, and got some treatment that you can't get in the U.S., this and that. And he came back and he played, but he had injury after injury after injury. But in his farewell tour, in his last game in L.A. at the Staples Center, guy goes off for 60 points. And walks off the court. That's like the storybook ending to a really a life of redemption. So that's kind of what I want to get around to is the road to redemption. And I'm going to use something that I've called, and when I promoted the video or the podcast today, I think I put Broken Vase, Japanese Broken Vase. And what's that called, Adam? What is that design or artwork called, or that
I'll
process?
pronounce it best I can.
Go ahead, give it a shot. You're a smart guy, man. You're way smarter than me.
Kintsugi?
Kintsugi. Oh, Suji. No, that's racist. Sorry, everybody. To my Asian friends out there, sorry for that one. Kintsugi. Oh, there I did it again. Sorry. So what, if those of you guys can Google it, but just Google broken Japanese vase. So here's the idea. So you have a vase, and you break it. What do? You throw it away. It's broken. It's a million pieces. What the Japanese have done is done this, is they take that vase, and they use a certain type of cement, but then they lace it with gold or silver, and some other metal, but primarily gold. And they put the vase back together again with its cracks, but in its cracks, it has gold. So the vase, which was a beautiful piece of art to begin with, was broken. It broke. But instead of throwing it away, they've actually made it more beautiful. And if you guys Google that, you'll see images of what I'm talking about. And it really is. It's very, very unique, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's a cultural thing in Japan. And I think it's very appropriate here if you think about it. And I think that we can look at it towards any number of ways. Our society as a whole, the automobile industry for sure. That sometimes as humans we break. 03, Kobe broke. He was a broken vase. There was a couple of different ways he could have gone. A lot of different ways he could have gone. One way he could have just said, screw it. His wife could have said, screw it. But they worked their way through it. He became, in what all appearances would say, an outstanding father, an outstanding leader, well-respected, a very astute businessman. And he put himself back together again with all the cracks from what happened, with the gold in there, and became if you excuse the term, a beautiful work of art. He fixed himself with help. He fixed himself. And he went from being cracked, broken, to adding gold and changed his life. The reason he got the helicopter was to eliminate the traffic on the 405. Those of you from LA or Orange County, Southern California, and anywhere from south from LA proper, quote unquote, down to Laguna or down to San Diego, basically, but for sure to Orange County, is just a freaking nightmare. So he got this helicopter so he could spend more time with his family, ironically enough, as it turns out. But I think it's interesting, I find it interesting, that this Japanese broken vase situation, I think we see it in our industry, in the automobile business. With AutoMax Recruiting, happens to be one of our sponsors, AutoMax Recruiting and Training, the top automotive recruiting company in the United States of America, 22 years, 180,000 people placed, men and women in all positions in the U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico. 18,500, probably close to 19,000 recruiting campaigns from porters to presidents. If you need help with people, we have a bunch of different ways to do it, whether it be technology, do it DIY, a recruiter trainer in your dealership to handle interviews and initial training or orientation, or remote recruiting. We can do it all for you. 800-878-5090 or visit our site, automaxrecruitingandtraining.com. They are a sponsor. Also happen to be my company, along with a couple of my partners, my son Joe Lockard and Ernie Kasperwitz, who's another sidebar, 3 or 4. It was Ernie's birthday, the 28th. What was that, yesterday? Ernie's old as dirt.
Happy birthday, Ernie.
Happy birthday, Ernie. Ernie's, he's 10 years younger than me, so he's 58. That's old. I'm the youngest person in the car business. Ernie is 58 years old. We had a situation. We had another gentleman, a good friend of ours, and longtime AutoMax trainer, and then he worked inside the office for us, Arthur Bush. But at one time it was me. I'm 68. Ernie was 58. Arthur was 48, and Joe, my son Joe, is 38. So it was like 10-year increments. So it's just useless information I thought I'd throw in there. But I think we see it in the automobile business like time and time again, and we deal with it. Both internally for remote recruiting, or the recruiter trainers deal with it face to face when it comes to broken people. There was a post on Facebook today of a former recruit that Anthony Santangelo, one of AutoMax's recruiter trainers, also hosts our show, Did You Hire Him Dead or Kill Him After You Got Him, on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. And I'm going to get some of the story wrong, so I apologize. And I've totally forgotten the woman's name, and I'm sure Anthony, if he's listening, will put it in here. I'm going to go through some of your questions and stuff here in a little bit. You're welcome, Ernie, you old thing, you. But Anthony, I think it was like a year and a half. So she posted pictures of herself winning her first Salesperson of the Month award, which I believe, hope I get this right, she's the first female in the history of this company that she works at this dealership, to win that award. Now, I don't know this woman personally, and I'm not saying she was broken. However, I can say Anthony then posted, because he initially recruited her and initially trained her, I believe. I'm fairly certain I got that right. And I believe she was working 2 shifts at Wendy's or some kind of thing, which isn't awesome. Doesn't make you broken, but not awesome. And now she's, achieved a certain level of success. And we could go on. I mean, there are, literally thousands of these stories that we have with AutoMax. I mean, thousands. I I have a personal one. Probably 19, 20 years ago, I was doing a recruiting training campaign in Akron, Ohio, at a Chevrolet dealership, and literally every single manager in the dealership had worked for me, under me, when I was the GM of a competing Chevrolet dealership. And literally every single, I know there's 25, 28 salespeople at the dealership, I had initially recruited and initially trained. So I did a recruiting class there, and there was a young kid in class, and he had a banged up driver's license. It was bad. This guy he was in the military. He'd finished his tour. He had come back. His buddies took him out to celebrate. Instead of him celebrating and letting someone else drive, they all got super drunk. He ended up driving, had a couple drinks, got pulled over, got a DUI. So he comes in to interview. The way that we do our classes, I interviewed him, and we put him into an initial training class. It's kind of an extended interview to make sure that everything's good. And then at the end of the week, we make verbal and written evaluations and recommendations to the host dealer and our contact person at the dealership, whoever that might be, to choose from who we feel, based on, it was really kind of a week-long interview. It's an awesome process and the right way to do it, on who would be best fitted for the dealership. And so I took this particular young gentleman, this young kid, to the general manager, who had worked under me, I don't know, 10, 15 years prior to this. And I said, you got to take this guy's driver's license banged up, but he had a DUI. This is the circumstance, but maybe split some of his deals, have another salesperson take him for demo drives, this and that, another thing. Nah, I can't. Nah, don't want him. DUI, don't want him. I said, no, dude, you're not listening to me. This guy is killer. This guy's going to be awesome. He had a couple stumbles, man. He had a couple problems, but this kid's got it. I'm telling you, he flat out has it. Nope, I'm going to pass. And I got mad for a minute, for more than a minute, and we got a little loud with each other. Now, we don't do that with a dealer, but I knew this guy like really well. He was 19 years old when I originally trained him to become a manager. As a matter of fact, oddly enough, he's a dealer today and been a 20-plus year client of AutoMax out in Springfield, Missouri, Youngblood Automotive. So shout out to Jim to Whittaker, John Whittaker. So at any rate, so he won't take him, and I was pissed. And so I leave, and about 2 weeks later, they call me and said, hey, you got that kid, is he still available? I said, yeah, he's still available. Oh, good. Have him come in, and I said, well, it's going to cost you $1,000. I said, well, come again? I said, it's going to cost you $1,000. You made a $1,000 mistake. You should have hired him up front like I told you to. Oh, come on, Craig, don't be like that. I said, no, I'm serious. You either pay me $1,000 for this young guy who you screwed up on, should have hired, should have trusted me. Yeah, he's a little broken, but we could have filled him in with some gold and had a beautiful vase here, dude. They passed. They got pissed at me, trying to gouge him for $1,000. I wasn't, but it was a lesson, and I was trying to prove a point. I was just mad still, which is probably not the most emotional, intelligent thing I could have done, but that's the way it happened. So I ended up placing him at a competitor who was also a client of ours. Long story short, guy killed it there, did a great job, ended up at another, they owned a bunch of dealerships in Ohio, and ended up being a sales manager at another dealership, called us, we ended up doing business with him. So a broken person, jammed up, got himself in trouble. Could happen man or woman, doesn't matter. Instead of throwing them out, let's take those pieces and let's put them back together. Let's put some gold inlay in there and recreate a new vase, a new person, a better version, a more beautiful version, something you can be proud of. It's going to be stronger. It's put together with gold, less likely to crack going forward. And let's take that broken vase and let's look at that Japanese cultural phenomena, and let's look at our people like that. Let's look at everything like that. Do we have broken family members? Do we have broken team members? Do we have broken staff? Do we have a broken relationship with a loved one? Can we take those broken pieces? Can we put them back together, inlaid with some gold, and create a whole new thing, a beautiful thing, something stronger, long-lasting, a road to redemption, a second chance? See, that's what happened to Kobe Bryant. He had a pretty big glitch. And I don't mean to discount what happened. Don't know what happened. None of us do. We can only believe what we want to believe or what we read or whatever. But he took a horrible situation. He was broken in a bunch of different pieces. He put himself together, back together with gold, and built himself into a reputation of being beloved, as you can tell by the avalanche of Facebook postings, Twitter postings, and so forth, and turned his life around. And obviously gone too soon, 41 years old. His daughter's 13. The other people involved in the crash, it's just sad, man. It's sad stuff. So you can look at it that way, or you can look at it like this moron comedian Ari Shaffir looked at it, turned it to him. It took a horrible situation and tried to spin it so it's a look at me. And I did see a little bit of that. Hey, I had this 30-second moment with Kobe Bryant, 9 years ago, and here's the clip. Here's the picture of me shaking his hand, and people turn this stuff into making it about them, which is, in my opinion, sickening. Once, kind of make you want to puke, frankly. Me, anyway. And so, yeah. F. Artie Shaffir. It's a bad move, man. I don't know how he gets back from that. It was a bad move. Bad move. A horrible thing to say. Just brutal. Horrible. And I think he posted it. Then he went all in on this thing, man. And on his Twitter he said, I was hacked. And he wasn't. It was just to even pile more crap on top of himself by saying that. And he did it on purpose. He wasn't hacked at all. And then the video came out. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he happens to be Jewish, and if I'm not mistaken, I think was Monday the anniversary of the Holocaust, or Monday or Tuesday, or the anniversary of the Holocaust. That's not the right way to put it. Maybe when Auschwitz was liberated, I believe. It's something like that. But I think the timing was pretty bad. So at any rate, yeah, broken vase, man. Is there somebody in your life we can fix? Put a little gold in there? Can we help them along a little bit? Is there somebody on the showroom, somebody in your life? Is there someone we can help like that? Can we make him or her more beautiful by taking the broken pieces, putting them back together, and inlay a little gold in there? Might want to think about that. Might want to look for that. Might want to post stuff like that. I think it's worth it. Instead of throwing that trash out, man. We talk about turnover in the automobile industry, just to relate it to cars, and what a lot of you do that are watching is like, it's like, okay, we've accepted this obscene, horrible turnover and you can name the numbers. You've all seen them. 90% of women salespeople don't make it a year. 90%, 90, 90, 10% do, 90 do not. Bad. Horrible, horrid. 75, 76% total turnover, sales staff, first year. I don't know what the total, I think the total, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, obviously. You will, and you're welcome to. I think total turnover in the dealership, all departments, 12 months, first 12 months is somewhere in the upper 30s, 36, 37, 38%. It's too much. It's ridiculous. But think of it this way. Let's look at it differently somehow. Are some of those broken vases that we can fix? Can we make that right? Can we take that person and, I don't want to say fix them. Fixing people gets a little tricky, but can we help put them back together again? Throw some gold in there. Spend a little more time with them. Help them realize his or her goals. Help mentor them, develop them, inspire them. I hate saying the word training people and managing people. You train chimps. You train sweet dogs like my Dixie do here. I think you develop and inspire human beings. I think that's what you do. I think that's what we need to do more of, in my humble opinion. I think we should do that. Road to redemption. We had along those lines, there's been so much crazy stuff here, man. There was I don't know if you guys saw this. This is wacky, has basically nothing to do with what we just talked about, other than the fact that we had a news reporter reporting the story about Kobe. And Adam, do you have her name? I forget. What's her name?
Allison Morris.
Allison Morris. Morris?
Yes.
Did she get fired for what I'm about to tell the audience?
I don't believe she did.
All right. So if you guys have not seen this is whacked.
There's a petition to get her fired.
Oh, is there? From
just
the woke
people,
community?
A couple 100,000 people signing a petition.
Oh, just a couple 100,000. That's awesome. So she was talking about Kobe Bryant, and she laid out it was very clear to me. Now, Adam heard it and thought she used the N-word. And then she was talking about Kobe being perfectly cast on the Los Angeles, and then she used the N-word. And then she corrected herself immediately and said Lakers. Now, in her explanation and apology, she said she was thinking Knicks and Lakers and put the two together for Nakers. But there was a G in there. And, wow, that thing went viral in a hurry. You guys can, that clip's still up somewhere if you Google that. And Google her name and or news reporter, N-word or whatever. But it's like, and I talked to somebody the other day, it's like, dude, it's like she didn't wait her whole career to go, okay, I'm in the spotlight now I'm going to lay out the N-word. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Let it rip. This is my shot. I'm going to do a mistake. Her explanation of Knicks and Lakers put together, I don't know. To me, it doesn't hold water. Now, Adam said he heard it as Nakers. I did not. But you guys listen to it, and you guys listen to it and see what you think. But here again, it's like, bang, all right, let's cancel her. Now, this woman didn't work her whole life to get to this point, to do or say, it was a mistake. She made a mistake. Big one? Yeah, no question about it. Unfortunate? No doubt. But man, we are so quick to jump on people and just destroy them, whoever it is. It goes back to what I was saying before about somebody making a mistake about The 2005 helicopter crash that killed soldiers in Afghanistan, or the story I told you about the wolves. And it's like, somebody just can't wait to call you out on it. That's old news. That's bullshit. That's from 2005. That's fake. This and that. DM me. What do you gain by calling me out, calling anybody out on social media? It's like, so now there's 200,000 people signing this. This woman made a horrible mistake, no doubt, but it's a mistake. It's a bad mistake, but it's a mistake. 200,000 people want to see her destroyed. I don't know. I'm not on board with that. I'm just not. I'm not on board with that. I don't get it. Well, no, that's not true. I do get it because we're in such a quote-unquote woke society that we're waiting for someone to screw up, waiting for someone to say something wrong. Just waiting. It's incredible. It's just absolutely mind-blowing to me. I'm going to flip through here real quick and see here. We got a whole bunch of people watching. I really appreciate that. Let me catch up here. Craig Nicholas, no sound. Craig Nicholas fixed. Okay, so we're good there. What kind of CBD oil? Brian, you answer that question. Brian, it's called Ninjas. We got that roll-on I was using is something else, but I've got some, this is really awesome. Brian, if you're still listening or you catch it up, go ahead and put it in there. It's, he got me some CBD infused coffee. I think it's called Ninja Coffee. And then oil, 2,500 milligram CBD oil, which I need, but it's really, really good. Let's see. Rob Winter's got his popcorn also. And Lisa Bridges, I saw that one too. Yeah, hi Lisa. Thanks for joining the podcast. Really appreciate you guys. I know you guys had over the weekend, you guys had a horrible situation with one of the managers down there, and our condolences go out to you and his family. And I don't want to say too much about it. I don't know the gentleman's name, but he's a sales manager, and he took his own life over the weekend. Just a horrible thing, obviously. But, Lisa said he went to church before getting on the helicopter. Yeah, you're right. Kobe went to church, not LeBron. Yeah, my bad if I said that any other way. The Bermans are on. Hey, Rick and Laura, I talked to you guys earlier today. Awesome people. They're going to be on the podcast upcoming here. Hello, Mr. Walsh. Says hello to my big brother, the youngest man in the car business. You on board, dude. Check out vetscars.com. That's Chris Walsh's company, and Chris Walsh is also a recruiter trainer for AutoMax Recruiting and Training. Hey, Melissa Velko's on. He was a guest last week. Awesome follow. Check out Velko. He's an awesome girl. Awesome guy. Morgan Ray, listen to this girl. You have gold in your veins. Good. I like that. Happy birthday, Ernie. Melissa's 20 at 29. That's a fib, Melissa. Stop fibbing to people. Chris Walsh says the next Ali Rita may be taking your order at the restaurant tonight. That is a fact, my friend. That is an absolute fact. We have no idea where these people are coming from. Give people a shot. Santangelo says, look at people to give them with a reason to hire rather than to not hire. Everyone deserves a second chance. Yeah, Craig Nicholas, a perfect example in my recent post. Yeah, I would agree, dude. It's absolutely true. You guys, anything you guys want to put in there, I'll try to answer some of these things and get to some of these things. And as I always say, and it happened a lot on last week's episode with Velko, is guys, talk amongst yourself. A lot of you people know each other, and if you don't, you should. That'd be pretty awesome. And we're building kind of a sweet little community here with the Recruiter podcast, and it's appreciated, and I think it's important. Rising tides raise the level of all boats. Rising tides raise the level of all boats. Craig, I think there's a little too much THC in your CBD. No. Rising tides raise the level of all boats. You could actually Google that. What does that mean? Here's what this means to me. About 19 years ago, maybe 18, we had our first actual office. We actually moved out of my house. That should be a whole nother podcast, but we actually moved out of my house where we were operating AutoMax recruiting from at its very infancy type stages, and got our first real office. It was a nice office. And we had, 10 people in there or whatever it was. And we were just figuring things out. And we come into work one morning, and the locked door to the office had been opened with a crowbar. I mean, it was destroyed. We walked in, walked over to filing cabinets that were behind the receptionist's desk, and someone had taken said crowbar to the filing cabinets where the trainers, amongst a lot of other stuff, but where all the trainers' non-compete clauses were at, and all their employee and or independent contractor paperwork was at. And there was one missing. So this gentleman, this guy had been with us a short time, thought he was awesome, and there's a lot more to the story that I won't get into. There might still be, although it's past the time, so I guess I could probably say pretty much anything without defaming him completely. But so he stole his stuff, stole his non-compete, broke my door, broke my filing cabinet. I think he stole me $788 for that, so you send a check if you're listening to this. I actually ran into him in a Wawa the other day, moved back up here from the south. But at any rate, so he went into business against us, took everything that he had learned from AutoMax and started his own company. And his way of marketing, his only way of marketing at the time, was to take one of our job boards we had back in the day. We still have a job board called carjobsonline.com, but we would post all our jobs all over the country, U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico that we're doing the following week or week after, and that's where we would put our ads. Then they would be aggregated from there to, back in the day, Career Builder, Monster, and so forth, and then ultimately Indeed and ZipRecruiter and so forth. But their marketing was to call our dealers and say, so how'd it go with AutoMax? We can do the same thing for less money. Long story short, that was their marketing, which is bullshit way of marketing, but that's all they could do because they were not as smart as we were, perhaps, or lazy, or what have you. Rising tides raise the level of all boats. What does that mean? So, what if this knucklehead had come to me and said, hey, dude, respect you, respect what you've done. I love it. I'm all in. I'd like to change some things. I'd like to do it on my own. Here's my business plan. I don't want to go in direct competition to you because I signed something that said I won't. But maybe you could put a little seed money to it. Maybe you become a partner with it. Maybe we can make more money doing something a little bit different. Rising tides raise the level of all boats. Now, it's easy to second guessing for me to sit here right now and go, yeah, shoot, I'd have been all in on that, man. Sounds good. Actually, I probably would have been because I've done that before. And I'm pretty proud to say that and Ernie and some of you folks on here that are listening that have been with us a long time can attest to. We took some real train wrecks, some broken vases, put some gold in them, put them back together again. In a couple of years, we made a couple people millionaires that partnered with us. One started a fixed operations training company. Another one started a management training company. And frankly, they became millionaires, and they were pretty much down on their luck when they came to us. But we helped them. That rising tide raised the level of their boat. If I or AutoMax do well, it's good for you. If you, I'm talking to vendors for a minute here, and then we're going to get to dealers, but it's the same thing, as you'll see, and it's probably clicking with you, or salesmen, or anything. If another vendor does well, and I champion that vendor, and they get recognition, and they get more clients, and they garner more success, revenues, dollars, what have you, instead of being jealous or hateful, that rises tiding. The tide is rising. And if I'm in a boat, I'm gonna rise as well. Why be jealous? Why be hateful? It's good. It's good for everybody. If I'm in a town with 5 dealerships or 55 or 500, I want them all to do well. It makes 0 sense for them not to do well. I don't know how far I'm going to go out of my way to help them do well, but I'm certainly never going to talk bad of them. I'm not going to go out of my way to destroy them. If I own a Chevy store, whatever, it could be anything. I own a Chevy store here. There's a Ford store next to me there, and a Toyota store next to me there, and a Honda store across the street from me there. Wouldn't it be to my advantage that all these stores do well? That their rising tide will rise the level of my boat? Doesn't that make sense? And vice versa? Shouldn't they want to see our store do better as well? I would think so. Those of you in the automobile industry are familiar, as most of you are familiar with the term 20 group, and it's basically a group of typically 20 dealers from all different markets, same make, that get together at pretty awesome places. Sidebar, I speak at those, so if you have a 20 group or NCM, which is another company that does 20 group getaways, I'm available and have spoken at a bunch of them about recruitment, retention, onboarding, that kind of thing. I'm available to do that. All you have to do is pay for first-class airfare, 5-star hotel, and really, really good food. No, you guys have a certain budget that pays for whatever. I'm just kidding about that, sort of. But, yeah, I'd be happy to come speak at those, and they're awesome. And we bring some pretty good value to you guys there. But so you have 20 dealers from different geographic points around the country, so they feel no problem with, I mean, they're sharing their financial statements. They're sharing, quote unquote, secrets of their success to help other dealers within that 20 group. So that tide is rising in that room of 20 dealers, let's say more or less. And consequently, all their boats in that room are rising together as well. Now, they're not next door to each other. So it's easy to do. It's less likely to happen when the dealer's across the street, down the road, or the next town over. But why not? Why not? If they're stronger, you're stronger too. If you're stronger, they're stronger too. Rising tides raise the level of all boats. Hey, you know, competition on a sales floor. I used to think that was a must. Automobile salespeople, I'm going to paint with a very broad brush here, typically are pretty competitive people. And it seems as though the more competitive you are, not in all cases, the more money you make. Seems as though. Back in the day, and there's zero doubt it's still done today, I've seen it, we used to have a thing called steak and beans. So you take a sales force, you got 20 people, you break them off 10 and 10. At the end of the month, whoever sells the most cars, you all go out to dinner together. The concept is the losers eat beans, and the winners eat steak. So you got winners and losers. 20 team members, but 10 of them are losers, 10 of them are winners. So dealership sells 150 cars for the month. The winners sell 80 and the losers sell 70. I'm on the losing team. My team lost by 10. Now I'm a loser, and I got to eat beans. Now, typically, the stores that I either ran and worked under that, or then when I was a general manager, I ran the same damn thing, did the same damn thing. Thought it was cool. Competition's good, strong, it's healthy. I don't know that it is. Customer comes in, most important person in the dealership. Client comes in, a person under our protection. A client is a person under our protection. A customer is a person that comes into our facility to exchange dollars for goods or services. A client is a person under our protection. So a client walks in the building. We're on team B, who's losing, and they're ultimately going to be the losers. And that client, person under our protection, asks for someone in the other team that team B is competing against internally in the dealership. Lots of bad things can happen in this scenario. But let your mind wander what can happen. Who? Anthony Santangelo? No, I don't know who you're talking about. He don't work here anymore. Okay. He's, I don't know. Irish guy? No, he's gone. He's not here anymore. Yeah, so, or they skate him. Don't put him in the CRM. There's a million bad things that can happen because of the competition. Rising tides raise the level of all the boats. Get rid of steak and beans. Make your team one, whether it be at home, with your significant other and your children, with your family, your parents, your extended family, with your friends, your management staff, people on social media. I'm going to take a minute to talk about a person that, and we've said this before, We got a person, Michelle McLean. This woman, she's been on the podcast. Go back, go to our YouTube channel, AutoMax Recruiting, and it's, I forget what, for some reason, episode 33 sticks in my head. That's off the top of my head. I'm probably wrong, but Michelle McLean. Excuse me. Check out that podcast. But Michelle McLean owns a company, Retention Masters. Is that right, Anthony? Retention, yeah. Michelle McLean. This girl, you want to talk about a broken vase, and I'm not going to go into it. It's her own story. But those of you that know her know some of the just devastating things that have happened in her life. It's a broken vase. Has putting herself back together with gold. Just got engaged. Congratulations. It's awesome. Here is a perfect example of a woman of a rising tide, hoping that all the other ships in that harbor rise with her. To a fault, perhaps. She spends, I don't know, countless hours, no exaggeration, countless hours lifting other people up. Constantly. Hey, I can help. I'll help. Hey, I can help. I'll do this. I'll help this. I'll do that. I'll do this. To her own, sometimes it doesn't help her. Because I don't think she's getting enough back in return. Now, this is somebody that has been offered to use her services, and so far we've declined. It has nothing to do with her. It has something to do with other stuff internally. But when we pull the trigger, we will be retaining Michelle McLean in her company. She's awesome because she constantly uplifts other people. Her rising tide raises all the boats around her. That's what I'm talking about. Within a dealership, if you're listening to this and have any influence at all, or even if you don't, doesn't matter. You'd be shocked how influential you are, regardless of your position at the dealership or whatever industry that you're in, and you're just happened to stumble upon this podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts, or you've seen it on LinkedIn or what have you, or YouTube. Because not everybody's in the automobiles business that listens to this crazy thing. Got to raise that level, man. Got to raise that level. No matter how insignificant you feel that you are, or that story, those typically lies and crap that we tell ourselves that just aren't true. They're just not true. They're fake. They're phony. They're false. We can, regardless of position, within the hierarchy of a family or an organization or what have you, we can be the tide. And as that tide rises, we can help those other ships rise to the same level as well. Why not? What can it hurt? We've been trying it for a really long time the other way, and I don't think it works out that awesome. I just don't. I really don't. You know what I used to get a really big kick out of? This is how, and thank God I've evolved somewhat from a complete chimp to, working towards being a full-blown human being. Michelle McLean just jumped on. Speak of the devil. Not speak of the devil. Her ears must have been burning. I was just talking about you, Michelle. How awesome you are. But what I used to get a really big kick out of as a general manager is when another dealership in town would dehorse someone. Dehorsing means that if they stopped in the dealership, they would go ahead and take their trade in keep it there at the dealership, flip them the keys to a car that they were thinking about or considering or looking at buying, and we called it dehorsing them, or we called it a puppy dog close, with the thoughts that if they drove it for an extended period of time or took it home overnight, what have you, that it would be hard to return, that it was a deal. Well, typically what happens then is the customer continues shopping, takes your car from your dealership and comes to my dealership and says, hey, hey, so XYZ Motors gave me this car, and here's the figures. Can you beat it? So I can assure you of this. There was zero way that customer was ever going to take that car that the other dealer had given them to do an extended test drive with. There's zero way that I would allow for the customer to take that vehicle back to the dealership. I would have one of the salesmen, because we'd end up with the deal, take it back and kind of, nah, you guys are morons, and we're smarter than you, and we got the deal, and we might have lost money on it, but you were stupid, and we're not, and nah. Okay, so, all right, Craig, well, that's kind of a stupid move, and it's business, and it's the car business, and that's just good selling, and you took advantage of a situation, and yeah, that could be true. But how about this? How about we do it on the up and up? That same situation happens, we make the deal, and I call the general manager, the owner of the other dealership, and say, hey, dude, look, just a heads up. And I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but just a heads up. One of your salespeople, one of your managers happened to put these people out in a car. They came right here. We beat your deal by $100. We have your car here, and they are signed, sealed, and delivered, busting bugs in our car. I wanted to personally give you a call instead of just having my salesperson be a jerk off and come down there and go, man, nah. You know, maybe we can learn by this, because I certainly, if one of my knucklehead salespeople does that, and I don't know about it, or one of my managers authorizes that, and they end up at your store, I would love for you to call me and tell me, because we can't do that stuff to each other. It's bad. It doesn't. It's like one deal. It's not cool. We're in a rising tide. We both have boats. Let's rise to the same level, shall we? Rising tides raise all boats. Why can't we help each other? Why can't we do that? Why can't we help each other? What are these comments here? Just like Rob Winters did for me last Friday. Thank Rob. We have dude, it's a crazy, our company is so crazy. The way these people help each other is just, they pay it forward. It's, I don't know, man. What a lucky son of a gun I am. Just lucky. Unbelievable. Youngest man in the car business, and lucky. Lucky. My pleasure, Mike. Yeah, I'm sure you have, Anthony, on both sides of that deal. Yeah. It's just an example. Might be better ones. I'm sure there are. I'm just not thinking of them right now. Just by looking at me, look at me in the camera. I'm looking at you. Look at me. Just by looking at me, tell me who I am. How old am I? Be careful with that one. I'll cancel you guys. Just by looking at me, tell me who I am. Height, weight, age. Just by looking at me, tell me who I am. Shoe size, suit size. Credit score. Just by looking at me, tell me who I am. What do I drive? What's my car payment? Just by looking at me, tell me who I am. What's my house payment? What's the square footage of my home? What's my credit score? Just by looking at me, tell me who I am. If I'm married, single, divorced, college grad, or not. Just by looking at me, tell me who I am. How much money do I make? What's my net worth? Just by looking at me, tell me who I am. You know, you walk into a bookstore, there's still bookstores. Just do this. Trust me on this. Just do this. Walk in there. Those books are not laid down on the table horizontally. They're not. They're vertical. So you can see what? The cover. I was told when I was involved in writing a book with a whole bunch of other people, it's one of those deals, this celebrity press or whatever it is, and you get a bunch of people, and it's, you know, you become an overnight, legitimately, well, that's a gray area word, but at any rate, you actually you get together with a bunch of other people. You pay X amount of dollars that buys you X amount of books. It goes into several categories on Amazon, and you're a quote unquote bestseller. You actually are a Amazon bestseller, but it's a real gray area there on how you got there. You don't make any money on it. There's no royalties and stuff. It's, you know, kind of weird. But so somewhere in that process, and I'm going to screw this up, but I'm sure you can Google this. I can't remember the percentage exactly, but it was over. What I was told was that the amount of money spent on the actual cover of the book, the design, artwork, what it's printed on, because it's a different paper, obviously, actually cost more to produce in total than all the actual physical pages of the guts of the book. Why? Because people do judge a book by its cover. People will buy a book based on how it looks. We used to do it with albums. For some of you, albums were a record. They were pressed. It was about this big. You put them on what was called a turntable, and that was hooked up to an amplifier, hooked up to speakers, and that's how music came to be. In the old days, vinyl records. But there were people that would buy, they were artwork, man. There's some, the Beatles' White Album. It was just white. It was art. There was a bunch of them, man. Crazy, crazy album covers. Who's over in the booth? Chris, are you over there or Adam?
Yeah, Chris is here.
Yeah. What? Any albums come to mind? Any album artwork? Although you're kind of a kid, you're not old enough to remember this stuff.
I'm 36.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
And a
yeah,
musician.
you're on the cusp. All right. So, I say amazing album cover artwork. Anything pop into your head?
Oh, let me think about this one.
Artwork on album covers. Guys,
Are you familiar with Nirvana?
Yeah,
In
there's a
Utero,
good one.
The angel.
Yeah.
With,
Yeah.
You can see.
Yes.
Her insides.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. People would buy that album. People, but like for whatever, 2, 3, 4 years, Nirvana was like on fire.
Oh yeah.
But I guarantee you, people bought that album just because of that. And I don't know if you experienced this, but a lot of parents wouldn't let kids buy albums because of the artwork on the album.
Absolutely. And going back to Nirvana, their album Nevermind. I don't know if you remember that one. It has the baby in the pool.
Right. Yeah. That one's maybe the most famous. Maybe.
Yeah. That's the one that put them on the map for the most part.
There's lots of them, man. That artwork was crazy. Led Zeppelin had a bunch of crazy ones. But I guess my point in all this, folks, Abbey Road. Yeah, Chris, that's a good one.
Oh, Abbey Road. I used to stare at that for hours.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the little clues in there.
Right. Sergeant Pepper's with all the all the craziness that was going on there. They're all dressed up, and it was pretty weird. All that stuff, man. So, yeah. So we do judge a book by its cover in many different facets of our lives. We do it in the automobile business without a doubt when it comes to hiring. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. When I first started this company and I'd go out and I would interview people and I'd get done with 2 or 3 interviews in a row and I'd go take a break and the manager would go, "You didn't invite that one, right?" I say, "Yeah, I did." "What?" "Man, she's a train wreck, man." "Are you serious?" "No, that guy, you invited that guy back to the initial training?" "Yeah." "Well, why, man? The guy is like, his pants were halfway down his ass. He had a belt on. Doc Martens, buzz cut. Geez, I don't know, tattoos. Whew, man, I don't want that. I'll never hire that guy." And I'm going to tell you what, and it's happened. This has happened literally hundreds of thousands of times over the last 22 years. And this hasn't happened within a couple 100,000 people that we've placed, it has happened thousands of times, literally, where we've interviewed someone at a dealership on a Monday or Tuesday, and then we, during the course of the week, depending on how the structure of the recruiting campaign is, turn over those people that have kind of made it kind of American Idol style to the end of the week, and we turn them over to the dealership to hire. And sometimes the person, the contact person at the dealership, whomever he or she might be, would say, "Geez, I didn't see that person. Where'd this person come from?" "Oh, that's that one you told me not to invite." "What?" "Yeah, we can clean them up during the course of the week, so to speak, quote unquote." They change. As you give a person confidence, if you allow them to be a boat and partake in the rising tide that's around you, they're involved with, a physical metamorphosis takes place, not unlike a caterpillar to a butterfly. It happens. If you give them a chance, it happens. To go back to just by looking at me, tell me who I am, it's an exercise we do early on, like within the first, every trainer does it a little bit differently, but if we're at your dealership doing an on-site campaign, they're doing this within the first half hour. Why? Because we want to drive home a couple things. First of all, the car business is not what they might think it is, based on negative connotations that they've picked up over the years from friend, family, whatever, TV show. Seinfeld, putty, right? Rust proofing, blah, blah, blah. High five. Seinfeld reference. Doesn't look like a car salesman, or looks like a car salesman. Looks like a train wreck. Whatever, man. Can we get past that? Can we get past that? Please, can we get past that? She's too hot to sell cars. Can we get past that? She's too hot. She can't sell cars. She's a lawsuit waiting to happen. What I'd like, Craig, is an attractive woman, well-groomed. These are real words. Well-groomed, a realtor. A handsome woman, if you will. Not too hot. Hot's a problem. That's illegal. Don't tell us that stuff. Keep it to yourself or change. Change. Yeah, Craig knows. Dark Side of the Moon, that's a good one too. Yeah, Ethan. Yeah, Sergeant Pepper. That stuff's brutal. Can you imagine hearing a man, and maybe this happened, don't know, never happened to me, but yeah, that guy's too cute. That guy's too handsome. We can't hire him. All the office girls won't be able to work. He's just too much of a hunk. He's a stud, dude. Can't hire him. It's a lawsuit. We would never say that. It's doubtful. Because anything's possible. That's doubtful. Don't judge a book by its cover. Come on now. Come on now. You can't look at a person. You cannot look at me just by looking at me. Tell me who I am. You cannot tell me who I am, what's in my heart, my work ethic, my morals, my enthusiasm, my IQ or EI, my emotional intelligence. You can't tell those things just by looking at me. You can't tell my credit score, how much money I make, square footage of my home, the car that I drive, my marital situation, college education. Am I a person of faith or not? Just by looking at me, you can't tell those things. You can't tell those things. Just by looking at the Kobe Bryant situation, in total, I don't know that we can make a decision on who he was. I think, based on some things we do know, that he had some cracks and he ended up filling them with gold. He turned his life around. And it positively affected a lot of people. I would be willing to bet a sizable amount of money that everyone that will watch this show within the next week, 5,000 or 6,000 people will see this. And I'd be pretty willing to bet anybody a certain amount of money that they can identify a person or persons in their life that perhaps they misjudged based on looks. In the, it was, I don't know, 1980 maybe, 80, 79, 80, probably 80. I was a general manager of a large urban Chevrolet dealership. It was huge. We had a ton of salespeople, 40, 50 salespeople, and we had greeters that would actually greet the customer. We were on a very strict selling system called APB, Automotive Profit Builder. Still around today a little bit, but back then that was the cat's meow. That was it. It was very structured. Very structured. A lot of numbers, a lot of statistics, and it was a very strict road to the sale and so forth. And I had it, the way this place was structured, this is just the way it was structured, the construction inside the building. I was actually in a glass office overlooking the showroom floor that held a crap load of cars. I don't know, it was a lot. And then the used car department was off to my other side, and so forth. So I physically could see everything that was going on. And so this very attractive younger girl, this is a long time ago, so I'm not a dirty old man. So this very attractive, you would call her hot, younger girl walks in the showroom floor with, this is going to date myself, legit Daisy Dukes on, no shoes, suntan, blonde hair, crop top, just hot. She walks in. I had one Corvette on the showroom floor. The rest of them were hidden. I had one Corvette on the showroom floor, and it was just in front of the customer waiting area, just outside the new car managers. We had two new car managers. One of the new car managers there was Jared Conover, who's been an AutoMax recruiter trainer for 19 years now. And Jared and I worked together there a zillion years ago, late 70s, early 80s. And there was a greeter, and then right next to her was the next salesperson that was up. And then behind him or her, there were two phones on the wall, and they would take the incoming sales calls, also based on an up system. And this girl that walked in was so stunning. No one moved. Everyone's standing on the showroom floor with their mouths, literally, I'm not kidding you, with their mouths open, like they had never seen an attractive girl before, ever. She was so hot, the girls were looking at her, going, whoa. And I'm watching all this from my office in the stars there. And I'm losing my mind because no one's waiting on her. Now, she's circling the Corvette. So you can go, okay, she got no shoes on, tan. It's weird. I can remember this girl 40 years later, but it's a fact. 40? 1980? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So she's looking at a Corvette. So, but everyone's staring at her. So I'm losing my mind. I got the phone. I'm calling the wall phones. There's two of them down there. Then the actual receptionist was 15, 20 feet away on the other side of the showroom floor near the front door, the front entrance. So they're not answering the wall phones. I call the receptionist, and I'm losing my mind. I'm screaming, and I'm pounding on my glass window like a madman. Somebody wait on her. Somebody wait on her. I would cause such a commotion. Then ultimately somebody went over and started talking to her. Briefly, because I'm talking about 10 minutes went by. That sound you hear is Dixie drinking water in the background. Dix, you want a treat? So I'm making a racket. I'm making a scene up there. She glances up, and I don't know, walks out 2 minutes later. Next day, she pulls in a brand new blue Corvette, bought from a dealership 4 miles from us. The first winner of the $1 million lottery in the state of Ohio was her. She comes back the next day in her new Corvette that she bought and paid for cash. I see the receptionist point up to me. She walks up and I go, here we go. Hello, sir. Are you the general manager? Yeah. Well, I was here yesterday. I know. Oh, you knew I was here? Yeah, I saw the whole thing happen. Well, evidently, your people didn't think I could buy a car. Shame on you. It was kind of like a scene from, I don't think Pretty Woman wasn't out there, but it was like, when she walked in all those the stores on Rodeo Drive and go, big mistake. Big mistake. It was that deal. We made a big mistake. We judged a book by its cover. Pure and simple. There you go, Dixie. There you go, sweetie. So she came back to, rub our noses in it, I guess. And, yeah. So, yeah, Michelle, we do rise together. It's the core of your beliefs. You bet. So I called an emergency beat 'em up meeting where I yelled and screamed and threw stuff at salespeople for about a half hour. I better never see that happen again. And everybody's probably got that story in the car business. The guy that comes in, the overhauls and the horse shit on his shoes, on his boots, and he's Kid Rock or whatever. You can buy 40 cars or something. Everybody's got that story. And it's true. Why does it happen? Because we try to judge a book by its cover. You cannot tell me who I am merely by looking at me. You can't do it. Can't be done. Yeah, we try to do it every day. And through that kind of mentality, through that kind of thought process, what happens is this. That we take that hierarchy that exists everywhere. Dixie, that's enough, honey. Go lay down, sweetheart. And what happens is that rising tide, we don't rise with it. We push other people down. That broken vase, we don't put it back together with, no matter how many cracks in it, we don't put it back together with gold. We just don't. We just try to get one over on people. Under our thumb. Under my thumb. Dixie. Yeah, I know, I hear you, honey. We're going to be winded up here in a little bit, Dix. A couple things I got to do. We got to pay some bills here in a little bit, too. I've totally ignored my sponsors today. Dang. Dang. I'm going to put them all, later tonight when I get home, I'll put them in the notes. Dixie, no barking. Come on, dude. Dixie the Wonder Dog. So, here you go, sweetie. So yeah, let's not do that. Let's fix those cracks with gold. Make something beautiful out of a broken situation. Let's rise with the tides evenly. All boats help each other. Help each other. There's no downside to it, man. There just isn't. Let's not judge a book by its cover. An interview, someone at a gas station, a supermarket, a dating site, someone in your family, whatever. Person you pass on the street, person in a grocery store, whatever the case might be, man. We don't have to do that. We're better than that. We're just better than that. I want to thank a couple people here that pay us enormous amounts of money, because this stuff ain't free here at All Systems Go AV. That rhymed. I'm a poet. Don't know it. Hickory Dickory Dock. No, I'm not going to do that. The Dice Man, Dice Clay. So, want to talk about a couple things. One is the Rockstar Conference. Rockstar Conference. Go to rockstarinfo.com. Rockstarinfo.com. You got to do it soon. AutoMax recruiting and training, along with Flick Fusion. We're putting out some freebies, some comps. I'm pretty sure they're still available, but the room block is over shortly. And frankly, even if I knew the exact date, I probably wouldn't tell you. That would make you go ahead and make a move and do something and look into it. But go to rockstarinfo.com. It's in Vegas. It's flipping awesome. It's going to be, I think, 20 different speakers there. The Bermans, who we were watching earlier, and they're going to be on the show, on the Recruiter podcast here probably in the next month or so. They're speaking. I don't know if they're both speaking. I forget what Laura told me today. If Rick and Laura, maybe Rick's speaking. My bad. Yeah, Rick's speaking. Excuse me. My oldest son, Joe Lockard, the director of operations and minority partner at AutoMax Recruiting and Training, will be speaking. Mr. Andy Buck, one of the top AutoMax. I say that about all our guys and all our people. They're they're all tops. They're amazing. He will be speaking. These are TED Talk. They're 18-minute. Dixie, look at this dog. Dixie, no, get away, girl. That's it. Andy Buck will be speaking as well. It's a Sunday, Monday, March 15, 16. Go to rockstarinfo.com. And also, Matt will be on the podcast. He'll be a returning guest here in the next few weeks. We screwed something up on the schedule, and we had to reschedule him, but he'll be on in the next few weeks. Also, this Monday, what's fresh in my mind, this Monday, and we've had a few on, Ms. Lene Tarver. She's a great follow on Facebook, Tarver. She does sales recruiting and training. She does also service advisor recruiting and training. She's awesome. She will be live in studio this coming Monday at 11 o'clock, I believe it is. You'll see the promo videos and stuff for that, but I think it's 11 o'clock this coming Monday. She'll be here in studio. Rockstarinfo.com. Guys, just go. Just go. There's some freebies from AutoMax. We have so much money. We just give it away. We just give it away. We just give it away. We actually do give away some money. We give away money for charities, for our guests. On Anthony's show, Did You Hire Him Dead or Kill Him After You Got Him? Every guest picks a charity, and we send money on their behalf. And we do the same thing here at the Recruiter Podcast, and it's not because we're just so freaking awesome. It's we want to do something nice for the guests, and then hopefully pay that forward, and kind of does rise to the tides, I think, kind of thing. Don't you think? I think so. So they're one of our sponsors, and then you got Tecobi.com, Tecobi, Jason Gerdner, Scarlett, Dan Webb, and the whole group of really smart people. They're in Castle Rock, Colorado. Facebook advertising, taken to a whole nother level. Whole nother level. Go to Tecobi.com. Learn more. Talk to these people. It'll blow your minds. And that's not an exaggeration. It'll blow your mind. So get with them. A couple of weeks ago, we had on the Vice President of Sales and Dealer Relations, Mr. Hunter Swift from our friends at Dealer World. Go to mydealerworld.com, mydealerworld.com. I'm going to try to get Mr. Troy Spring, personal friend of mine, one of the most awesome individuals in the automobile business and in the world, just because he is. I'm going to try to get him on live for a 10, 12-minute conversation this coming Monday when Lene Tarver's in studio here on the Recruiter Podcast, and have him tell a little more about Dealer World. Their growth is unbelievable. They're a full-service ad agency / performance agency. You can reach out to Hunter, he's everywhere online. Hunter Swift, Swift, like the singer. They're an awesome company. Awesome company. Look at this dog. Do you guys see this dog? Although I do have Joanna, my awesome friend and assistant, went to that Whole Foods up in Delran and got a bunch of organic, good, very expensive stuff. So I've been eating it. I had some bison jerky on the way up here. Ooh, oh man, it's insane. Last sponsor I'd like to talk about is Automoto HR. Automoto HR. AutomotoHR.com. Automoto HR. CEO is a gentleman, good friend of mine by the name of Stephen Warner. Spoke to him on the way up here today into the studio. There's a few recruiting platforms, HR platforms out there. This one's different. Excuse me while I talk with my mouth full of jerky. It is their platform. No, literally, this is no baloney. There is not another that I'm aware of, and we've researched this. We use this. We resell it. Dixie, stop, honey. There's not another one in the country like this. It's career-branded websites. So where you have your career tab or your employment tab or jobs, whatever, in your dealership, you replace it with this. And the look, you can put video on it. His team at Automotive HR just makes your dealership look amazing. I'm not going to drop a zillion names of who use this, but the largest Honda dealership in the country does. Hint, hint. Or just top players. Large, small, don't matter. It's a beautiful thing. You're posting jobs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And what happens is those get aggregated by Indeed, ZipRecruiter, all these over 100 different job boards. It pulls traffic to your site, which is always a good thing, never a bad thing. People apply. They create they go into what's called an applicant tracking system. Think of it as CRM for talent. So you're creating your own quote unquote talent network that you can build and tap into. Electronic onboarding, which should be, and I'm going to talk to Steven, I think, pretty soon on one of the podcasts. The electronic onboarding is a no-brainer. You want to talk about retention? I'm going to tell you how retention happens. Is in the first 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, half hour, 5 hours, 2 days, first week at the dealership. People either are in or they're out. They might hang for a while, grab a couple checks from you, but if they're leaving, they've mentally checked out. A lot of it's because of improper, unprofessional onboarding. They can be changed easily. Compliance, ongoing training and development. I mean, just go to automotivehr.com, check them out, mention the Recruiter Podcast, or better yet, reach out to Sonny at my son Joe at 800-878-5090, 800-878-5090. Mention the Recruiter Podcast and save a couple bucks doing that. So those are hopefully we paid the bills, made these people a few bucks. These are really terrific companies. We're so happy that they're Ralph Rasmussen. Ralph, my man. Ralph is one of the original AutoMax recruiter and trainers. Hello, my friend Ralph. Man, I haven't seen you in such a long time, man. I miss you, dude. You're one in a million. You're a true class act. True class act. Haven't seen you in years. Awesome human being. So, let me finish up with, man, I don't know, this might be pretty deep. Who's on here? This is pretty deep. I talked in the promo that I was going to talk about the coronavirus. I'm not sure you guys are ready for where I'm going with this. Can I make light of something that's really weird? Let me tell you what's really weird. Gosh, I don't care. You guys can blast me for this. Or you guys can enter into a conversation with this. It's okay. If you read the Bible, if you believe in such things, they talk about end times, Revelation. And they talk about plagues. They talk about chaos. They talk about storms. They talk about basically earthquakes, fighting, chaos. I forgot to bring it with me. I have a end of the world tool shovel in my trunk of my car. It's pretty awesome. I also got about $15,000 in silver. But so I'm not saying this is the end times. I'm saying it's pretty weird that you have this weird disease. It's not a plague, but you could draw the correlation. That's last report I saw killed, I don't know, 131 people, I think, so far, something like that. And I don't know, thousands of cases, what have you. You got a 7.7 Richter scale earthquake south of Miami. You got a 5.0 earthquake in Puerto Rico Saturday, I believe it was. Some weird stuff. You got all hell breaking loose in Palestine, which happens all the time, unfortunately, and I can go into that story if you'd like. Sure, I will, Craig. We put forth like I'm in on it. Our president put together a peace plan with the Prime Minister of Israel, which the Palestinians obviously are never going to go for. They never have. They never will. I don't know any Palestinians. I don't hate the Palestinians. I'm just saying the way it is since 1948. I think the date is. You guys can triple check me on that. Ain't never been peaceful there, and it's never gonna be peaceful there. Who are you to say, Craig? Well, it's not me. But if you read in, is it Genesis? Yes. Wow, I'm getting religious on the Recruiter podcast, but what the heck? Why not? So what happened was God come and told that Abraham was like 100. I'm going to miss here a little bit. I'm kind of, you guys can fill in the blanks that are more biblical scholars than I am. But so God came to Abraham and said, you're going to have a baby. And him and Sarah were, I don't know, Abraham was 100, Sarah was close to 100, whatever. Can't have a baby. 100 years old, dude. It's God, man. He can do anything. So nothing was happening. So Sarah thought it'd be an awesome idea to go Ari Shafir to go Ari Shafir on her husband Abraham, slip him a Mickey, slip him some Molly, and then, while he was high, take her maidservant, Hagar, put him in the tent, have her husband have sex with her maid, and boom, gonna have a baby. Surrogate-wise, but nonetheless a baby. So Hagar gets pregnant, has a baby named Ishmael. Then Sarah, who had just hung in there and had a little bit more faith, Hebrews 11:1, faith is being sure what you hope for and certain things you cannot see. If she had just had a little more faith and hung there a little longer, then boom, she got pregnant and Isaac's born. Well, because Ishmael was the actual firstborn of Abraham, was close to the kids. Is his dude. His oldest son. So that caused jealousy. Long story short, Sarah tells Hagar, Ishmael, take a hike. Beat it. You're done. Hit the road. Go into the desert. Figure it out. While they're traveling out of the desert, God comes to Hagar and says, don't worry about it. I'm going to bless you with 12 tribes. Basically, that's where kind of this mess started. if you believe in that. And said, you're never going to get along. Those tribes, Isaac's tribe and his descendants, and Ishmael's tribes and his descendants will never live in peace. That seems pretty evident. So is the coronavirus part of what's happening? Are these earthquakes part of it? I don't know. That's pretty deep. But I said all that rather to get to this. I was talking to somebody a week or two ago. I said, Craig, I don't believe in God. There's too much bad stuff. Kobe Bryant, his daughter, 7 other people die in a helicopter crash. Why? There's a God, Craig. Why would he take these people? Why? Why would God do that? Why? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Well, I don't want to believe in God because of that. Okay. Try this. Let's go full circle here. We've talked about don't judge a book by its cover. We talked about rising with the tides and the boats go up with it. We've talked about a cracked vase and filling it with gold. Redemption. How about if I leave you with this? How about, let's just think about it for a minute. How about we do this? You don't have to be a Christian, Catholic, Protestant, Methodist, ad nauseum, add them all on. Agnostic, atheist. How about this? How about as humans, today, tonight, tomorrow, right now, Dixie, how about if we act as though God does exist? Act as though there is a God. I'm not saying believe in him. I'm just saying start reading the Bible, accept Jesus Christ and you'll go to heaven, and born of a virgin, died, buried 3 days later, sends to heaven, comes back. Only way to heaven is through him. I'm not going there with y'all. How about just acting as a human as though he could exist? And asked the most important commandment, picked love. God is love. How about if we loved each other? How about if we acted as though God exists and base that existence on love? And we found that broken person, the person had a glitch, bad time. We filled those cracks, put him or her back together with gold, made something beautiful. What if instead of driving people down, we allowed all the boats around us to rise with the tides? What if we did that? What if we stopped judging a book by its cover and judged people on the content of their character? What if we did that? Thanks for watching, everybody. I think you're awesome. And we love you. And we're out. Take us out of here with some Always a Rebel.
Always a rebel you are.